Hey everybody, it's Sam. Back in February during the Chicago Auto Show, I had a chance to meet up with John Thompson, the CEO of Autel, a company that makes charging equipment, EV charging equipment. Right now, most of what they build is for public charging infrastructure. They do both level 2 and level 3 chargers, so DC fast chargers as well as AC chargers, lower power AC chargers. And they also do home charging equipment. Right now, most of their chargers are manufactured in Vietnam, but they are working on setting up a manufacturing facility here in the U.S. as well, and that announcement should be coming sometime in the next few months, I think. After the show, Autel reached out to me and asked if I'd like to try out one of their home chargers. About a year ago, I had, because I've been testing so many plug-in vehicles, I actually had a 240 volt outlet installed in my garage. I got an electrician to come in. It was a fairly straightforward installation in my case because I already had a 200 amp service panel, and the panel is on the wall. It separates. It's on the inside of the wall. It separates my basement from my garage, and so it was a pretty straightforward installation. Only cost about $700 for the outlet to be installed for a 50 amp outlet, and then I bought a Electron 9.6 kilowatt 240 volt charging cable on Amazon for about $300. And I'll include a link to that as well. That one has worked pretty well for me, except for some reason with the Polestar 2 and the Volvo XC40 Recharge, it won't communicate properly with those, and it won't charge when I have those vehicles. But anyway, Autel sent me one of their MaxiCharger wall boxes, and let's take a look at what's in here. So inside the box, when you open it up, there is a mounting bracket to mount this on the wall. It actually goes this way. It's pretty straightforward for mounting. And then we have the wall box itself. This is they have several different models. This is the 40 amp version that'll charge at 9.6 kilowatts. It has a built-in socket here to plug in the cable when you're not using it, so it's not hanging on the floor. And this one is set up to plug into a NEMA 1450 outlet. So this is a 50 amp, basically a 4-pin dryer outlet. They also have a version of this that can be hardwired in. For that, you need to get an electrician if you haven't already had that done. In my case, because I already have a NEMA 1450 outlet, I asked for this one here so I can just plug it in, so I didn't need to get an electrician in again. All I have to do is mount this one on the wall, and then it should be good to go. And this is a smart charger, unlike the Electron charger that I have, which has a little display on it. When it's plugged in, it shows you what the current and voltage that's putting out, and when it's done charging, it tells you how many kilowatt hours of electricity it's fed into the vehicle. So it's handy, but it's not, you can't do any remote management with it. There's no app for it. It's pretty straightforward. This one has an app that goes with it, and you can manage when you charge and how fast you charge and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this thing on the wall here in my garage right above my NEMA 1450 outlet, and I'll be back shortly. All right, so I have installed the mounting bracket here in my garage just above where my NEMA 1450 outlet is, and this is my current charging cable. You can see this is the type of plug. This is a NEMA 1450 plug, so it's a 50 amp 240 volt outlet, typically used for devices like dryers and other household things that need extra power. Hey everybody, I've now got the Autel MaxiCharger installed here in my garage, and I've also got a Nissan Ariya out in the driveway that I'm going to try this out with. Let's take a look at the charger itself. So as I mentioned before, this particular version, Autel sells a number of different variations of their chargers. This particular one has a NEMA 1450 outlet, so this is a 4-prong dryer outlet. I had this outlet installed in my garage just about a year ago. In my case, it cost me about $700 for an electrician to run a line from my main breaker panel, which is in the basement, just on the other side of the wall on the other side of the garage here in the basement. So it's a fairly short run. It's a pretty easy install. Unfortunately, for some people, that cost could be substantially more. For example, I already had a 200 amp service panel. If you have an older 100 amp panel or 150 amp panel, for a faster charger like this, you're going to need to get an upgrade of that. That can be quite expensive. That can, now you're starting to look at several thousands of dollars potentially, and if you have to do some significant rewiring, that adds quite a bit of cost. But as I said, I've already got that. So let's take a look at the charger itself. Now, looking at the charger, it looks like there is a display here, but there's actually not. This is all blank. There's nothing here on the display. The only things we have here are power indicator, internet. So I've already got this thing hooked up through the app to my home Wi-Fi, and then there's charging, Bluetooth, and RFID, which you can use because you can use this this particular charger. You can set it up in the app as a public charger if you want. If you want to install it on the outside of your garage, for example, or the outside of your house, or if you've got a business and you want to put it there, you want to charge people for using the charger, you can do that, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But they make two versions of, so they make 4 different home chargers basically. There's 2 that have the NEMA 1450 plug on here, like this one. And there are 2 that are hardwired directly into your circuit in your house, so you can't remove it, or at least not easily remove it. This is one of the hardwired units, and then of each of those, there's a version that has a built-in holster, like this one here, for the connector, and there's another one that there's a variant that has a separate holster. So Autel supplied me with the one with the built-in holster, which is pretty nice. This is my other charger that I've been using for the past year. This is Electron charger, and this, you can see here, this is the NEMA 1450 plug. It's a 4-pin plug. It's a 50 amp plug, but generally, the way electrical standards are set up, you've got to have a little bit of buffer in there, so they're limited to 40 amps. So that means that this outlet can support a 9.6 kilowatt charger. So that's 40 amps at 240 volts. The Electron charger that does have a little display on it, which displays, when you plug it in, shows you the current and voltage of the power going to the vehicle, and then when it's done charging, it shows you the total number of kilowatt hours. This charger doesn't show you any of that, but because it's Wi-Fi connected, you get all that information in the app. This one doesn't have an app to go with it. There's no wireless connectivity for it. So let's take a look. First of all, let's go plug this thing in. Hang on. So the EV that I'm driving this week is a new Nissan Ariya, 2024 Nissan Ariya. This is the E-Force version, and it's got support for both AC and DC charging. It's a CCS connector on there. Since you're charging at home, we're just using the AC. So I'll plug this in here. And one nice thing about this Autel charger is it has a 25-foot cord on it. So I've got a little bit of extra leeway. My Electron charger is only an 18-foot cord. So I have to make sure I park the vehicles up a little closer to my garage to be able to reach, depending on where the charge port is. In this case here, Nissan has put the charge port on the passenger side front fender, and they make different variations of this for different markets. So for here in North America, they use a CCS connector. In Japan, where the Ariya is currently built, they still use a CHAdeMO connector for DC fast charging, and the J1772 connector, which is this part here, the top part of the CCS connector, is the SAE J1772 for AC charging. And then in Europe, they of course use the CCS Type 2, which is mandatory over there. So that's basically a variation of this. The US, North America, we have CCS Type 1. The Type 2 connector is basically the same, uses the same communication protocols, but it's designed for three-phase circuits, which is what they use in Europe, whereas here we use single phase for 240 volt and below. Now, you'll notice here on the charger, the charge light is flashing. And in the vehicle itself, it doesn't indicate that it's charging, because I've actually set up the charging in the app, in the Autel app, to charge using time of day. So it's set up to not actually start charging until after 10 p.m. Recently, my local utility, DTE Energy, switched to time of use rates. And so now, I think between 3 and 7 p.m., 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. every day, they're on peak rates. After 7 p.m. it goes to time of use. I currently have the schedule in the app set up to start charging after 10 p.m. But I'm going to change that right now, so we'll see how it's actually charging. When you open it up, it shows you the chargers that you've got connected. You can have multiple chargers set up with the same instance of the app, and it shows you how much energy you've used so far this month, how much it's cost, and when you go into the settings, you can change the scheduling. I currently have it set up for charging between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. So if I can plug in the car in the evening, it won't actually start charging until 10 p.m. For this test, I want to go ahead and start charging it now. So I'm going to go back to the main screen here and just manually start by tapping on the start button in the home screen here. If I want to share the charger and make it publicly available, I can also do that by tapping on the share your home charger here, and I will do that a little bit later on. So I'm going to go ahead and start the charge session. And there it goes. So it's connecting, the charger is talking to the vehicle, initiates the charge session, and so I can monitor this. I'll get notifications on my phone as it's charging, or when it's completed the charging session, and you can see that it has jumped right up to 7.5 kilowatts that the charger is sending to the Aria, which is about the maximum that the Aria will support on AC charging. Some other vehicles, some other EVs can charge faster, in some cases 10.2, 11 kilowatts, and some vehicles like the Ford F-150 Lightning and other larger EVs can actually charge it up to 19.2 kilowatts. But 7.5 is the limit here, and that's what this is doing. So here we go, and you can also monitor the charging current and the voltage. So the Aria again only supports 30 amps charging. So the charger is running now. See, there's a blue indicator light there on the top of the dashboard that flashes when it's charging. That lets you know that it's going. And then here on the charger itself, the charge light. Let's get it focused on the right thing here. Anyway, it has changed from blue to green, so that tells you that it's actually giving electricity right now, and it's running at about 7.5 kilowatts. And I'm just going to let it run and fully charge the car. All right, we're back. The Nissan Aria is gone, and this time around we are going to try out the BMW i4 M50, which I have here in the driveway, with the Autel charger. So let's take a look at that car first. All right, so here is the i4 M50. This is the high-performance dual-motor version of the i4. The i4, of course, is the electric version of the 4 Series Grand Coupe. So still has the same massive twin-kidney grille in the front. This one is finished off in the frozen Portimao blue, which is a fantastic color. I really like this car. 536 horsepower. I like the fact that it's got a hatchback, so you got lots of cargo space in the back. And the charge port door is over on this side, on the passenger side. All right, so as before, the Autel charger, Autel MaxiCharger, has a built-in holster for the charging cable. unlike my electron cable over here, and a nice long 25-foot cable on it. So let's plug this in. And right now, the charger is still set up for scheduled charging to charge at nighttime, but I'm going to go ahead and start it manually. i4 is connected, and I'm going to hit the start button on the screen, tap the start button, and it's going to connect, start the charging session, start it up pretty quickly, and the charging power fairly quickly goes up from 0 up to 9 kilowatts, which is a little bit less than the peak that the i4 is capable of, which is supposed to be 9.6 kilowatts, but it's still plenty of power for a fairly quick charge and easily charge the car overnight. Hey, all right, so I have now set up the Autel charger to do home charger sharing, which means that basically, if I wanted to leave this online, anybody that needed to charge their EV could come up and plug in to the charger here. I've set it up with payment information. You have to connect it to a Stripe account. You can set whatever fee you want to charge for electricity if you want to charge a connection fee. So I've set it up right now just for a test with 20 cents a kilowatt hour, which is a little bit more than what my rate is, and a 25-cent connection fee. And I'm going to try this out. To do this, to use this, actually, any other EV driver would have to have the Autel app on their phone and use that to activate. You can also get an RFID card from Autel. So I'm going to try this out here with the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid, and let's take a look at how this works. All right, so let's try out the Autel home charger sharing. So I have set this up in the Autel app on my main phone, and then I created a separate account that I have on the secondary phone that I use for testing. And when you open up the Autel app, if you go to the map view on the home screen, you can see where there are Autel chargers available. So I'm going to tap on this one, and it shows me my charger, which is right here on the wall, and shows you what the price is and what the power capability is. So it's a 10 kilowatt charger. So I'm going to tap on this here, and that gives me a little more detail, including contact information and the address for where to find the charger. And so I will tap on this here. That tells me that this connector is available. So I am going, and it shows me here the fees that I have set up in the app. So 25 cents a kilowatt hour, or 20 cents a kilowatt hour, plus a 25-cent connection fee, and it tells me that this charger is available. So I'm going to go plug this in, take this out of the holster here, and go plug it into this Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. Plug it into the AC charge port. There's also a CHAdeMO port here for DC fast charging at 22 kilowatts, but we're not going to use that right now. And go back here, and the app now shows, let's see, it shows available. So we're going to hit start, and it is connecting, and I just heard the charger click, and we'll see if this works. It says charge started, you've successfully started charging. But it's still running at 99%. It doesn't actually show it as charging. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, it's flashing green, so it looks like it's charging. And we'll go back here to the app. Failed to start charging, please. All right, so after it seemed like it had failed getting started charging. The car did in fact start to charge, and after a couple of minutes, the app on the phone that is connected with the customer account, the sharing account, refreshed, and it showed it charging, and shows you all kinds of information. So it's been going for about 3 hours and 45 minutes now. It's running currently at about 0.6 kilowatts. The battery is almost full. It is delivered about 11.5 kilowatt hours, and it has charged $2.55. So let's see, we'll take a look here. Yeah, you can see the charge curve here. It's down to about 2.7 amps, still running at 244 volts. You can see where it started to taper off as the battery got near full. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. I'm going to hit stop. And it is stopping, and I just heard the charger in the garage click. Waiting for payment result. Payment successful, and I have paid myself $2.55 for this charging session on the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. So the home charger sharing does work. So if you want to contribute to helping to build out the charging infrastructure, and you get one of these Autel chargers, you can make your charger into a public AC charger and help enable other people to get their vehicles charged, and even make a little money along the way. You can charge a little premium on top of what you pay for electricity, and works to everybody's benefit. So all in all, the Autel charger, the Autel MaxiCharger, has worked out really well. It has been quite reliable. It has delivered the expected amount of power for each of the vehicles I've tried it with, up to 9.6 kilowatts. And it's worked great, and I would definitely recommend this. You can buy them direct from Autel, I think for about $599 for this one. And you can also get them, I believe, through Amazon.